Hello, welcome to Tiny Blue Games. My name's of course Seesaw or Chris, and today we are talking and playing Final Fantasy XIV in 2023. Welcome. We are a couple minutes early. We're just gonna do a little chit chat while we wait for the clock to strike 2 here, at which point we'll get into some more MSQ stuff for about 90 minutes probably. See how far we get. I see there's some thoughts in the chat that we probably need 2 more sessions to get to the start of ShadowBringers, but we'll see what we can do. Lots of people here today. Look at that. Well, hello. We can hear you. I like it. I didn't even have to ask Irgu. I see you in the background too. you snuck in, you waved at me, and you found a nice seat in the background. I really like it. Are you eating like an orange or something? Almost looks like, yeah, like an orange. Very orange. But welcome. We see lots of people in the chat. We see Zakuru, Northern, Matthew, we've got Jamie, Ice-T, Olaf. Look at that. Welcome. But yeah, I'm excited for today. We're set up. We are, oh, look at that. Razor Dragon coming in. Love it. I'm excited. I've been, it's been such a busy month, and like, I haven't been able to make any Saturday work, really, unfortunately. So we did a Friday earlier in the month and then a Sunday later in the month, but we're pushing forward. Oh, look at that, and Senior Derpface is here. It would not be a Final Fantasy stream without Senior Derpface, so there we go. We'll wait just a couple of minutes just so that no one who's expecting it to start right at 2 misses it, because I know how devastating that'd be. But yeah, how's everyone else doing? I see some chat about Final Fantasy tickets. I see some chats just about things that are going on. Olaf says, "You're the only one I know that will know and care," that I know and care, but I just did the not so secret jumping puzzle for the first time, and it was terrible, lol. Well, as in the jump puzzle was terrible, or it went terrible? Because, yeah, I'm not very good at jump puzzles. We've seen it a few times on this channel, but not very good. The one in Kugani still haunts me to this day. It's something I'll probably have to return to, but it's not good. My fear of them really started in Guild Wars 2 as well. That game has a ton of jump puzzles, and a lot of them were super required for like legendaries in the first round of legendary weapons, and you just had to keep doing them, and it wasn't good. We got Terminus as well. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon probably for most people. Good afternoon, Terminus. Nice to see you. But yeah, it's 1:58, but I won't tell if you guys won't tell. We can probably kick things off. Before we do jump in though, if you haven't taken the time, please toss the stream a like. It'll help everyone who's subscribed and everyone who's not subscribed see that we're going live, so they can jump in as well. Matthew says, oh wow, look at this. Olaf says, "It took me a couple hours, lots of jump pads, and yeah, talking about Guild Wars 2, trying to get those masteries." Matthew says, "Have you seen the jump puzzle hidden inside the new Leap of Faith?" I don't know if I've seen the new one yet. I should. A lot, like I've done the old Leap of Faith ones a few times, specifically when I was trying to grind out that car. But yeah, I should check out. I should return is what I have to say. Iruku says, "Kugani Tower is ridiculous. The fact that some people can complete them in one go, no mistakes, in under a minute is crazy." It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, some people are so good at jump puzzles, and jump puzzles have like haunted me from the very start of my MMO journey. Like, I talk about Guild Wars 2, but it all really began in Maple Story, which had like, there's quite a few quests that have jump puzzles, and man, was I bad at those too. It's haunted me to the day. Matthew says it's a jump puzzle in a jump puzzle. Good. So there's a new one I need to check out, is what we were all saying. Well, we're gonna not do that today, but it'll be on my list of things. There's like a never-ending list of things I need to do in Final Fantasy XIV. I think you guys have another event coming up too next like tomorrow. Is it Hatching Tides tomorrow? Yeah. Like, there's just always something to do around here, which I love. So what are we up to? We're on Soul Searching. Gotta talk to Alize. I don't know what exactly is in this picture. It's like an orb of some sort. But there we go. Pint did it live in 56 seconds while chatting away. It's ridiculous.
I'm afraid there's little in the way of good news.
Oh no. Oh right, because everyone was getting their souls sucked away.
After you left, we reached out to both the Alchemists Guild and Stillglade Fane and attempted all manner of treatments.
And I'm guessing there's no rousing the people?
But the results were always the same. Whatever the answer is, it's not alchemy or conjuring.
Spooky.
Why did it have to be Y'shtola and Urianger and not me? Out of all of us, they are the ones who could feasibly have solved this puzzle.
I'm gonna guess that that's why they were chosen. Whoever's doing this doesn't want the puzzle to be solved. I wonder, what I'm curious about is if we're gonna be like, if we're gonna like wake them up somehow, or if we're eventually gonna be taken into this new realm or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be super surprised if that was kind of how you entered into ShadowBringers, is like your soul got sucked into a new place. It would be kind of cool. I could see it going either way. I don't know.
And Elfino's still missing. God, it's all going wrong. Where do...
Oh, I cut her off. I'm so, so sorry.
Grave situation indeed. Might I be of some assistance?
Who's this? Oh, Kryl.
Kryl! I did not think you well enough to travel.
When word reached me of the plight of our friends, I could not well stay away. As a fellow scion, not to mention your erstwhile mentor, this is one of those times you should feel free to call on me, regardless of my personal circumstances.
Now, she'd actually be quite useful in this, and would be quite, as she says, emotionally involved with Alphino being missing and stuff.
Yes, I should have thought of that. Thank you for coming, Kryl. We would welcome your insight.
She's gonna get taken in front of us now, I bet you.
And I should be happy to provide it. Now, what's this I hear about Alphino heading into Imperial territory? That boy always did have some funny ideas. Do you remember the speech he gave when he was accepted to the studium?
My life's goal is naught less than the salvation of this star.
God. A pretty good Alphino impersonation. I mean, she comes by it naturally with a lot of the similarities, but he does have a way of talking.
That particular grand pronouncement has been a source of great embarrassment to him, as you know. But the fact of the matter is, he meant every word and has lived his life accordingly.
Yes, he remains altruistic to a fault, but I'm worried he was too fixated on his goals to see the dangers, as has happened before.
That's a big part of what he does. I mean, you can even look back to when he purchased the sword back. He's very purpose-driven and does not think about the consequences, which is interesting because he is also very good at politics, or at least interested in politics, which you'd think he'd be very focused on the consequences and like how his actions are perceived. So it's an interesting character trait where it's kind of conflicting in some ways for him. I think he's really grown on me. Like I've really enjoyed Alphino ever since Heavensward, where we got to know him a lot and see him like throughout most of that story as kind of a main character. But he's one of the more complex MMO protagonists you ever really get to see.
You needn't be so concerned. Though his values remain the same, Alphino is not the blinkered boy he once was. Slowly but surely his eyes have been opened, thanks to a certain someone.
Ah, we're the certain someone. I like how we're just kind of standing here observing their conversation. Daggett says he was way too self-important in ARR. Yeah, I didn't even really, like, I didn't feel his personality in ARR. And that kind of is true for a lot of the characters. I think most of that has to do with the way they've started telling stories and focusing in on like a smaller section of the Scions. It lets you to really like understand. For instance, I didn't think much of Lys until Stormblood and stuff like that. But I think one of the big things for this game in general, but certainly Alphino, is in a lot of MMOs, the main characters, the main heroes are really tough. Like that's like they're very strong, kind of like we're very strong in this, the Warrior of Light. We're seen as very capable. He's capable, but like that's not his main strength, which is just a very refreshing character trait, right? Like that he's not the one to jump into battle. He does jump into battle, but he's not like super strong. At least not more so than a lot of us other scions.
A certain someone whom he'd be mortified to learn had heard about his little speech. Mum's the word, eh?
I like it. Mum's the word. Eh? Kral's just got such a motherly figure kind of to it. Irka says most people really don't like Alfie and AIR. Pretty much everyone I've talked to found him insufferable back then, but by the time you're partway through Heaven's Word, he's just great. What I think it's his character development, but also the Dragoon himself. What's his face? Mr. Dark and Mysterious, who is like his father figure throughout that. Why isn't it coming to the... What's his name? With the long, luxurious silver hair. Oh my god. Don't tell him I forgot his name. Estinian, thank you. Yeah, like the relationship him and Estinian have is very powerful, and it makes you, I think, appreciate Elfino a lot more. And it also, like, it puts him kind of in not a child, but like a youth's role, right? Where you see that he's learning, and like maybe that's kind of why he was so self-important before, as he was just immature. So I think that really helps a lot. Northern says that's when he becomes the bro we all love. Exactly.
Right, I'd better have a look at our patients. They're in the infirmary, I assume. I'll need absolute quiet, so it would be best if I did this alone. If you'll excuse me.
Yes, he learned how to gather firewood. Exactly. This is odd. All right, I guess we're just waiting.
All three are in fine physical health. At a glance, I would say they were merely sound asleep.
But their souls have been
Except
sucked out.
for the fact that I couldn't sense the slightest trace of them in their bodies. It's as if their souls have taken leave of their physical forms.
What a spooky, like, a very spooky thing. And it, like, is soul really something that we've dealt with too much in Final Fantasy up to this point? Like, we've clearly talked about some of the forces outside of, like, just, you know, the physical world, like ether and stuff like that, but we haven't touched too much on soul, you wouldn't think. Like, I mean, is there, like, I guess there's, like, situations where people die and we can revive them and stuff like that, so there's, you know, clearly a beyond the physical world situation, but it's interesting to hear. Yurko says, yes, much soul suckage. Daggett says, the female Elysian NPC in blue was first seen outside Satasha dungeon with her grandfather. Oh, well, there you go. This is the kind of little tidbits I'm not gonna know myself. I like the little lore tips.
The elder seed seer made a similar observation.
Everyone keeps
I've
saying
read
the same thing.
report. When you heard this mysterious voice, you described feeling as if you were somewhere else, yes? If we assume the ether which comprises your essence is being drawn to some other place, then it may be possible to follow the trail it leaves behind, just as we did in our search for Thancred.
So she is saying that ether and the soul are heavily linked. Even, like, if you were to really dive into that, like, she's saying the souls may be made out of ether.
I wasn't around for that, but I can't imagine it was easy.
Oh, it wasn't. But that's no reason not to try. I will have need of Master Matoya's crystal eye if I'm even to make the attempt. So I suggest we pay her a visit.
Oh, that must be the little crystal rock we saw. All right, we've got a plan. Dun, dun. Where are we? Oh yeah, Javania. You guys are gonna be super disappointed when I arrive here and I'm not able to fly or something like that. This is she's the one with the like the enchanted brooms and stuff that like sweep, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since we've been here. Actually, we came here a fair bit for the Alexander raid. Lol, I was about to ask too. We expect it. That's her. Yep. And she's the spicy commentary. She's got the spicy commentary. I like it. Ah, look how far we have to go. But it's a beautiful scenic route. We get to enjoy some scenery we haven't seen in a while, right? Like, this way I never take things for granted, driving everywhere. What dungeon was this? Oh yeah, there was like the leafy one. And there's also like the library like down from here, I think. Over here, I guess. The big dome is so cool too. I need to make sure. Yeah, I think this road will just take us there, because it's kind of like in it's like underneath that we need to go to. It's like a little swampy area. Do. I think it's really fun that like the MSQ brings you back to these old maps, because if you like a lot of other games, I mean they're more becoming this where they make use of their old maps, but so often we see MMOs that like once the expansion's done, the maps just aren't used. Now if I go down here I'll be fine. Like I think it's actually just through there. This is gonna hurt. Ouch. And if not, I'm gonna really regret that decision and have to find a way up, but this looks right. Daggett says they keep all their old characters and zones relevant. Yeah, like they weave them in when they make sense too, which I really like. Like they're clearly thinking about it the whole time. Alright, that didn't take too long. I mean, we weren't as quick as who's over here. Yurku beat us here probably like hours ago. I'd heard Master Matoya was something of a recluse, but this seems extreme. Still, I'll happily overlook her eccentrics if she agrees to help us out. Was Alize not here with us when we were doing this? It's interesting. And there we go. Oh, I remember this music too. It's fun because I can be kind of nostalgic about a lot of this. I guess Alfie was.
My peace again, have you? I hide myself away in a cave, and still you people insist on pestering me with your problems. Oh, I mistook you for young what's-his-name, but I see now you're the sister.
Young what's-his-name?
You're supposed to be the lively one. I've seen happier faces at a rain-sodden burial.
I don't know if she's livelier than Alpha. Like, they've got a lot of similar mannerisms. She's definitely more fierce.
Well, I'm sorry to dash
There
your
it is.
expectations, but the situation isn't exactly conducive to gaiety.
There's the fierceness we were talking about.
Ha! That's more like it. Stoller used to spit and hiss like a wildcat too. Better for a young thing like you to be filled with fire and leave the doom and gloom to your elders. Now, what exactly does this tragic situation of yours have to do with me?
If I may, Master Matoya, we have need of your crystal eye once more.
And Stola is one of the afflicted, is she?
Oh, I wonder if she'll have some ideas of what's doing this. She's kind of like wrapped up in this realm of ether and stuff as well. Yurko says this music is an arrangement of the classic Final Fantasy I track, Matoya's Cave, called the Mushroomery. The Mushroomery, I love it. Like this game must be such a journey for people who've played through like all of the Final Fantasies. Like, I know very clearly you do not need to play other Final Fantasies to like enjoy the game. I mean, I'm obviously proof of that. But if you were someone who's played through all of them, there's probably so many like little like callbacks and stuff. It would be like such a fun experience.
Very well. She may be an ungrateful stray, but she's my ungrateful stray, and I'll not see her buried before I am.
She does call it how she sees it. I like that about her. There it is.
Right. Let us see what we can see. I'll begin from where our friends first fell, and cast my senses out from there.
Does not look happy with what she sees.
What is it? Did you find them?
This doesn't make sense. How is it even possible?
How is what possible? Kryl, what did you see?
Spooky piano music's never a good thing.
The threads, they just ended. And no, I didn't lose track of them. I followed them as far as they went. It's as if they were cut off.
Like their souls were just cut?
Could their ether have dissipated? If it had, oh gods! Their bodies are just husks. It's like the Broodmother's daughter all over again.
Just a bunch of husks laying around.
No, this is different. The Kalyana girl was already dead, body and soul, when Lakshmi effected her resurrection.
Aye, let's not jump to conclusions. If their physical forms yet breathe and show no signs of wasting, then it follows that their souls must still be intact somewhere.
Interesting.
But where?
That is the question.
That's the question, isn't it, girl? Death has not taken them to the ethereal sea, yet there are no tracks left for us to follow.
I don't know. I think ShadowBringers, instead of going to like a new continent or something like that, we are going into this other world, like into the ethereal sea, if that's what it's called, whatever the spirit realm is that they've been portaled into. I think that's where we're going, and that's what we're exploring. And I think that sounds super cool if that's the case. That's my current theory.
We're no closer to an answer than when we started. But knowing their souls are still out there is progress of a sort.
Progress
We
of a
just have
sort.
to keep looking.
Just keep looking. That's kind of the thing here. To America. Not exactly what I meant. And then Yuriko, the knowing smile. I like it. I like it.
Pray, excuse me a moment.
Oh, we got a communication coming in.
Yes? I remember, but... What, to Ala Mhigo? We're on our way.
Oh. What now?
That was Lise. Apparently, a group of Populares have defected to Ala Mhigo, and Maxima, the envoy Alphino left with, is one of them.
Huh. Oh, the
I'm sorry.
the Garlean,
I
yeah, that he
realize
was flying
we've
with.
barely begun here, but
Go, child, go! You've made up your mind, and life's too short for dithering.
It's true.
I'll do some digging in the meantime and see if there isn't some other method we could use to continue the search.
let's be off then.
What was that?
Oh, not again. The enchantment barely seems to take these days. I chalk it up to old age, but I rather doubt it's that simple.
Yeah, something's going on with the ether of the world.
Before they took ill, Y'shtola and Urianger were sharing notes on a thinning of the ether. It seems to be happening all over.
Does it now? And here I was, all set to blame my woes on that creaking mountain of refuse clogging up the Thaliac. I fear something has gone awry. Still, there's naught to be gained from starting in shadows. You can only do what can be done, and that but one thing at a time.
Only one thing at a time, eh? Alright, let's go see what's happening on the other side of the world. I feel like we're going back and forward. Linux says, are you going to react to the trailer after 4.5? Yes, so once we get to ShadowBringers in this, like to where we're about to start it, I'll probably do a video where I do a reaction to the trailer, which will be fun because if anyone has been along with the channel for long enough to remember, when I first got into Final Fantasy XIV, one of the first things I ever did was react to the ShadowBringers trailer, which at the time meant nothing to me. I didn't understand a thing. So it'll be fun because it'll be watching it again, but this time with a whole bunch of context in terms of what's going to happen. So yeah, all this to say, yeah, we'll do that. We'll likely do a video like that, and then the stream to kick off ShadowBringers we'll make it exciting somehow. I don't know what we'll do, but it'll be pretty exciting no matter what. Daggett says, lots of travel and talk before we get to that point. We still won't understand a thing. Okay, good. Glad to hear it. So that was the woman who tamed Y'shtola. I had a distinct feeling of being grabbed by the scuff of my neck and having the nonsense shaken out of me. When Alphino is back, I'd like to visit again and ask her what tales she has of grandfather. Interesting. Defector's tidings. Oh, is Maxima defecting? I almost can't bear to hear that what Maxima has to tell us, but it can't be bad news. Can it? Lise would have said, unless, there's no point speculating. Lise said she'd notify the guards of her coming, so we should head straight to the palace gate in the Ala Mhigo quarter. I'll be praying for good news, learn what you can about Alphino's plight, and leave the search for our friends' lost souls to me. Good. Yurko says, yeah, I remember when you watching the ShadowBringers trailer, and everything in it just went right over your head. It'll be cool to see if everything makes sense for you now. It'll be devastating when everything goes over my head again, and you guys are like, what? But no, it'll be good to see. All right, let's go to the quarter here. What I will say that seems to be consistent amongst pretty much every MMO I've played, I think some of the most interesting story is like the few patches leading up to an expansion, because I think the players are obviously hyped, but the developers are so excited about where the game's going that the story is just kind of really about ramping everything up, and I think that's always so fun. Like, it's just something in every game. That's when it gets really, really intense. I feel like I always like take like the wrong turn in this place. No, no. Can we go this way? Man, like I mean, I blame myself, but it's also a pretty confusing area. Alright, Mr. Guard. Greetings, Scions. The commander told me to expect you. Shall I show you in? Yes, yes. Let's go. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got intrigue music right away.
I'm sorry to drag you halfway across the realm, but when Maxima mentioned Alphino, I thought you'd want to hear the news in person.
Oh my god, is it bad news? I mean, we know it's good news, but it would be a pretty big roller coaster for Elise. Lennox says, I also saw the ShadowBringers trailer when I first started the game, and it made no sense to me either, but I had a ton of theories when I finally got the ShadowBringers. Yeah, I feel like this is the one I've speculated the most about, whereas both Heavensward and Stormblood, I think it was more clear that we were just going to be going to like a new area of the world, which is very cool. This one is a little bit more mysterious. God, is he tall?
Ah, we meet again. Though I was hoping our reunion would be under more auspicious circumstances.
What happened to my brother? Where is Alphino?
Good God.
Never fear, my lady. Your brother was in fine health when I took my leave of him, and I have no reason to assume that has changed.
You assume?
If you will allow me, I shall endeavor to explain events. Our troubles began not long after we departed Doma. While crossing the burn, we were fired upon by the Emperor's personal guard and forced to make an emergency landing. As we stumbled from the wreckage, our attackers fell upon us again, and we would have perished there and then were it not for the intercession of a third party, a band of mercenaries whose leader claimed to pursue a vendetta against the Ascians.
I mean, a vendetta against the Ascians is never a bad thing to be aligned with. Northern says, imagine how new players will react to the 7.0 trailer. Is 7.0 Endwalker, or is it... yeah, I guess it would be on Endwalker. It'd be the... I have to remember all the .0s. It's kind of like WoW, where I'm like, is it 10 or 11 that they're on? It's always wild when like games have had that many expansions.
This Shadow Hunter, as he styled himself, then escorted us out of the wastes to relative safety. Upon arriving back in civilization, I gathered my Populares colleagues and prepared to flee the Empire. Master Alphino, however, declined the invitation to join us, preferring to continue his investigation into the Ascian threat.
It is interesting that he stayed with them. Like, when you think about, like, maybe I should just regroup with the Scions. I don't think Lisa or Alize is going to be happy to hear that. Terminus's Heavensward and Stormblood trailers felt much more about showing off the general tone of the new expansion, while Shadowbringers and Endwalkers felt much more about story-focused. It's fair, it's fair. Daggett says, still a year away for the next expansion. Nope, 7.0 is whatever's... Oh, so 6.0 is Endwalker. Yeah, 7.0 will be interesting to see. 7.0 is the next expansion and should have the teaser trailer in late July. I think like it's just so exciting getting teaser trailers. I mean, if you're like at the, I mean, kind of where I am in like WoW and Guild Wars 2, where I'm just waiting to see what happens next in the story. It's always exciting getting little teasers. I'm excited to get to that point in Final Fantasy, but I also really have enjoyed just always having more story to play in this game whenever I turn to it. So it'll be such a bittersweet day when or if I finally catch up to the live game.
Well, at least he's not lying in a heap in the burn.
Oh, she actually took it pretty well.
Tell us more about these Ascian hunters. Who are they? And is Alphino still with them?
He is. As to who they are, I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. Beyond the fact that they root out and destroy Ascians, they were unwilling to divulge anything which might serve to identify them. They would not even reveal their next destination. But Master Alphino asked to accompany them all the same.
I mean, if you look back at him, he has made some strange choice. Like, he's always about finding out the answer to the mystery, but he definitely does not stand back and is like, is this the best course of action for my safety? Should I not maybe talk to others after, like, we got through a crash and stuff? I don't know. He's a funny dude.
Since parting company with your brother, we've been engaged in a game of cat and mouse with the Emperor's Guard. We made our way through province after province, finding the army busy restoring order wherever we went, until we finally arrived here in Ala Mhigo. I cannot thank Commander Aldin enough for giving us such an unexpectedly warm welcome.
Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, I guess it is kind of a unexpectedly warm welcome for him as well. He does seem like kind of a level-headed dude, this Maxima. Which, and you guys kind of mentioned that it wasn't, because when we first saw him, I'm like, oh, he's just like this like B character, like that's kind of like one of the goons that goes along with this other guy. But he has become much more of a presence lately, so I'm interested to see what happens. Daggett says, will almost certainly be a partial trailer with the US FanFest in July. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yurko says, lol, yeah, you're not alone in feeling that way. When Preach got caught up with the story, he was like, ugh, how do you guys deal with this? I want to know. I mean, yeah, and that's kind of where I really think it's nice to have multiple MMOs, right? Like where you're caught up, especially if they've released their expansions in different times. You always have something to be excited for, which is good. Especially in games like this where they're like, hey, yeah, take a break from Final Fantasy, like, you know, go and come back. They're not trying to trap you.
I'm not inclined to turn away refugees, no matter which land they call home. And if they can tell me how things lie in Garlemald, all the better.
No, that's a pretty sensible answer from Roban.
On that subject, there is much I would tell you. During the course of our journey, we heard tales that an entire rebel army had been slaughtered in the space of a single night.
My God.
It would seem my former comrades grew tired of putting down uprisings in the conventional manner, and chose instead to bring a formidable new weapon to bear. Details were sparse, but the rumor alone was enough to dampen the flames of rebellion.
And I mean, I guess we saw our own little glimpse into the going on over there with like the person's like grandfather coming back to life and being like pretty much insane. Like there was some wild stuff happening over there. So yeah, with Xenos and all that. I'm interested to see how that unfolds. Northern says, and we should have replied to Preach, we don't know. How did you deal with WoW story? I mean, that's fair. How did you deal with not knowing? I'd say, like, because it's not a surprise. Like, WoW's story has never gripped me as much in terms of, like, what happens next. Maybe in, like, some expansions for some moments. But certainly never to the point that Final Fantasy and Guild Wars 2. Like there's been times where I'm most excited to find out what happens next in the story, whereas in WoW I'm always most excited to see like what's the next dungeon I can play or the new game feature. I think that's the difference between those games for me. Olaf says, lol, Preach. I loved when he was caught up on the Hillbrand. And when a new one came out, he was shocked with how short each chapter was when you're caught up. I guess it's fair. It's going to seem like much shorter once I catch up too, and I don't have like literally 2 years of content to go through for each expansion. It's been fun actually, because Preach, after Final Fantasy, he's now been playing Guild Wars 2 as his new project, and I've been able to kind of watch him as you guys are watching me, and I get to see him go through very key moments of the Guild Wars 2 story. And I've been like super hyped for him to go through certain moments and stuff like that, and then like kind of disappointed when he doesn't click for him, and then like, oh, but what about this? So it's kind of been fun seeing someone else go through that journey, and I've appreciated it.
I have also heard reports that several companies have withdrawn from their designated provinces and begun marching westward. It is my assessment that the Empire's forces are mobilizing for a large-scale military engagement.
There's always war, isn't there? It wouldn't be Final Fantasy without wars.
Westward? You mean they're getting ready to invade Ala Mhigo?
We knew this was coming, but not that it would be so soon.
Yeah, there's
We've
no
barely
moment for
even
rest.
begun to shore up our defenses. They won't stop an invading army.
No, they won't. Dispatch messengers to the Alliance leadership requesting reinforcements, and send word to our officers in the field to hasten completion of those border fortifications. Prepare to meet the Imperials head on!
Wow. Decisive action.
No matter how quickly we act, we still want for time. When the enemy comes into view, our best recourse will be to open negotiations with their commander, and see that the ensuing proceedings take as long as possible.
It's fair.
Would you and Alize head to Doma and let Lord Hien know about this? I'm sure he'll want to hear about Alphino too.
It's fair. We're kind of become the messengers who just go around
Consider it done.
sharing the
We'll
story.
say word when...
Oh. Oh, the boy. Oh no. Is it Alize this time?
Untold sorrow must be changed.
Why is Lise not impacted by it?
Ahead looms a calamity. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates.
Oh my god. Oh, we're both still here, are we? Yeah.
You heard it too.
I would say we did. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Ola says, yeah, between you and Preach, I've really gotten into Guild Wars 2. It's been I mean, I've said it pretty much every video I make about it. It's the single best value game you can play. Like, you get so much content for it. And their story has really become quite good at delivering the story over the expansions. I'd say there are definitely like some story threads that are more interesting than others, but the way they deliver their story it's pretty up there for me.
Well, at least we're both still standing.
At least, I mean, it's true. We're not husks. I wonder if, like, that's another thing they could do, actually. I hadn't thought about it, but they have this tech now where I can play other characters. They could have us turn into a husk and then have to play as, like, one of the other scions for a while until we solve the mystery, which would be a really interesting use of that technology. So that could be kind of cool. Okabab says, so excited for you to experience this leading into the ShadowBringers. Well, thank you, and welcome to the stream. I'm glad to have you here. No, I'm super pumped. This, like, I've been telling everyone, I've been trying to make times for the streams to work so I can go through the story. It's been such a busy month. It's been some planning and jamming it into
thank the gods. I
different
thought we'd
days.
lost you for a moment there. Why does this keep happening?
Now, why didn't it happen to Lise? Like, I mean, obviously it doesn't happen to everyone, but she is or was a scion, right? Like, because I would have figured it was everyone who are kind of the same as the scions who would have dealt like that. But maybe since she's renounced being part of the scions, she's not like being as focused. That's
I wish I knew.
It's interesting.
Nothing we've tried has brought us any closer to an answer. We'll keep working on it. But first, we need to go and see Lord Hien.
Let's do it. Mr. Hien. So Alphino is safe for the present, at least. Now all we need to worry about is a full-scale Imperial invasion. Not great. I'm actually glad Lise tasked us with visiting Lord Hien. Better to be dashing from place to place than sitting around stewing over things we can't change. To the Enclave. Alright. Let's head out. This is such a weird one where you have to, like, click on it a few times to get into here. There we go. Stan says, due to Lise is not part of the Scions. So it's because she's not part of it. Okay, that kind of, like, someone's clearly targeting the Scions, I guess is what this means. Like, they're trying to mess with us, so they see that Lise is kind of on the outsides of it now. Whereas us and Alize are very much in the middle of whatever this problem is. I think it further reinforces that, you know, Lise was a huge character in Stormblood, but we're kind of leaving her behind as we get into ShadowBringers, which I still think is a very cool thing that they do set aside people. They keep them in the world, but like it's not the main stage. I see you have tidings for Lord Han. I may show you in. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. It's so nice just gaming on a Sunday afternoon. I've got some tea. I'm really enjoying it actually. Let's got Hen all worked up. Let's see. Greetings, my friends. I was just discussing future endeavors with the members of our newly formed alliance. we just turn around. The Kojin and Confederacy, you already know it, and it was your own strength of arms that won us cooperation of the Steppe tribes. Who are these gentlemen? We also, well, the music's gotten cranked up. We've also been joined by our neighbors from Naxia and the indomitable citizens of Dalmasca. Through the scattered nature of the latter's resistance, this will somewhat delay their official introduction. Might turn the music down a smidge out of this. These proud people have united under a single purpose, to stand against the tyranny of the Garlean Empire. I'm glad to see your alliance is coming together so swiftly. As things stand, I fear we shall soon need your strength. I mean, it is good that the alliance is coming together, right? He's like, what? Do tell. Dun, 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 dun. I thank you for bringing me news of Alphino. His fate is never far from my thoughts, and not only because he is our emissary. As for this sudden deployment of Imperial forces, I agree that the Ala Mhigo would be wise to shore up its borders with all haste. Every report we receive from our shinobi indicates a massing of troops in the western provinces. It seems all but certain the Empire is poised to bring its fist down upon Eorzea. It's always the case, isn't it? And I would help deflect that blow, but I cannot risk sending reinforcements just yet. We will remain vulnerable to airborne assault until our wall will fall. Our wall in the burn is in place, which, yeah, I guess we like kind of just initiated that plan. The all-important elegant energy barrier. The energy barrier, yes. I thought to call it something more auspicious, a name drawn from the four lords of the legend, perhaps Sirius, Aegeus, or some such. Well, just a thought. I guess, yeah, energy barrier is a little to the point. Stan says, Dalmasca is from Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy Tactics, by the way. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, for context, the Dalmascan is the name of one of the nations in Ivalice from Final Fantasy XII. Ivalice is pronounced. You knew I was gonna have problems. Ivalice. Thank you. The prediction was very strong in the chat. That's cool though. Like, it's just what I mean. If you played through all these games, it'd be so cool to see them showing up. Ed says, which is also in the Stormblood Alliance raid, and have Omega and Ivalice been done yet? They have not. I've not done the I've not done the Heavensward 24-man Alliance raid, and I've done neither of the raids in Stormblood. So that list of things we need to do is very long. And it's really the game's fault for making the bloody MSQ so interesting. So we've got stuff to do. Welcome to the stream, Ed. The Ironworks engineer report that they have finished calibrating the generators and we are ready to proceed with the testing stage. Oh, that's good. Have you the time to attend the first test? You've seen the field which protected Alizla firsthand, and I'd be interested to hear how you think ours compares. Azizla? Yeah, Azizla, not Alizla. I will come too if you don't mind. Though I am no Y'shtola, I may be able to offer some insight. Of course, time being of the essence, it would be best if we made directly for the burn. Yugiri and I leave you and Hakuru to bring the war council to a close. Understood. Your mounts are saddled and ready, my lord. Wear the storms. All right, look at us. We're going back to the burn. All right, let's just turn the sound down a smidge, because it is up in my ears. Yurko says, lol, just absolutely spoiled for great content to do. It's true, it's true. And Daggett says, in some large gatherings, the secondary people you see will in part be dependent on what side content you have done. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yurko says, I would actually recommend you do most of the raids before you start Endwalker. It pays off. And I know that's probably what I should do. That just means we'd have to like start Endwalker so much later. Or wait, Endwalker did you say? Oh, Endwalker I could do that. I thought you were saying before Stormblood. No, Shadowbringers. We could, I can make that promise before Endwalker. Daggett says, ex-Red Mage trainer not seen at some places if you didn't start the Red Mage job. Interesting, very interesting. Will you cross the burn by Yol and Falcon as before? Or we will cross the burn. Join me at the overlook near the House of the Fierce. Let's do it. To the burn. Wait. Oh, he's going. I was like, we're already here. I guess we gotta go up. Because we don't have a crystal there, I guess, so we have to fly in like this. That's kind of fun. Give the word when you are ready to take wing. Let's do it. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Destiny's Hand says, if you're looking for the burn, look no further than Y'shtola. Is this about the little sun or little moon or whatever? It was a good burn. It was a good burn. Welcome to the chat.
Well in hand.
And Daggett says, just checked what characters Serena's English voice actor was done. Would have never guessed the ones in Shadowbringers. Interesting.
Should the barrier work as we intend, Doma will be free to reinforce her allies in Ala Mhigo without fear of weakening her own borders.
It's kind of cool to use like this old technology like
Honored
this.
friends, the time has come to put your hard work to the test. Start the generator.
Well, do we think it's going to work, or is it going to blow up in our face? They look pretty competent. They've got the little engineer goggles and stuff. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at this. Wow.
Node 1 is operational. Nodes 2 to 8 are reporting similar energy levels. The barrier is forming.
Wow.
1,000 yards. 2,000. 3,000. Expansion remains smooth. No fluctuations detected.
Dang, that is impressive.
4,000. 5,000. Target altitude reached. The barrier is holding steady at 5,000 yards. We've done it.
Jeez. Oh.
Is that an Imperial airship? Of all the rotten timing.
I mean, we get to test the barrier.
But this is a gift, Mistress Alize. They can test our new wall for us.
There we go. It's just gonna smack into it and blow up.
Seems solid enough. Though I was hoping for a fireball.
Fireball, yeah, we all were. Who we got here? Oh no.
By the gods, it's Alphino. What are you? Let me go! He has my brother!
Oh no. Oh,
Lower
he
the
got
barrier.
he got husked. He got husked when we heard the last voice, didn't he? He's who got husked. Oh no.
Be at ease, girl. The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
No, not him too.
We're gonna see it happen. Oh no, I thought we were gonna see a little. Oh no! We've experienced the Fatal X error. Uh-oh. The good news is I don't think we're gonna crash because we have the RAM for it. But I'm gonna be real sad if we have to go through that cutscene. Oh no! We've been husked. Stream is still going, I know. We've made some impressive tech jumps. I think we'll be able to save it before the stream cancels. Yeah, we can speed past it. We should be good. We should be good. Here, we're just getting back in. Throw wide the stream. We got husked. That's what happened. Here, we should be able to do main gameplay again. Let's just see. It's looking for a game, looking for a game. There we go. Look at that. I mean, we've come far from the technical difficulties we used to face where it would take down the whole stream. But yeah, I don't know. It's stupid when it's the one error that still happens, and it doesn't happen too often, like, but I still get that that issue where it just crashes every so often. Alphino dead. What a moment to happen. We gotta, here, we'll get to it pretty quick here. Let's just chop out of that. Alright, to the burn we go, to the burn, to the burn. Stream is still going. If it was just the game should pop you to before the cutscene. Yeah. So, well, now I've got to like just click through the text, because if I escape, it'll go like too far, right?
It seems the engine.
We got to bring it,
Should
you
the-
know, around slow. We don't want to skip
Honored.
anything. just a word from each of the dialogues. I apologize for your viewing experience today. Yeah, escape will skip the whole thing. We won't risk it. We won't risk it. I feel like we were probably like at the end of the cutscene too, which is the sad part. But you know what?
Node 1 is operational.
Not so bad. Much better than the whole stream coming down.
1,000 yards. 2.
I wish you could like click through this though.
4,000.
We're about 50% through, alright. So there's a little bit more that happens. Well, I appreciate the patience, everyone. Hopefully we don't... Like, I feel like it was just a random issue versus like some sort of part of the cutscene causing the issue. So I feel like we should be fine.
But this is a gift.
I like just cutting them off though, it's kind of fun. It's a power move. Stream holding at 50% or 50% yawns. I like it. I really like it. This would be when we face our technical difficulties, is during the most technical cutscene so far. We need some of those engineers working on the stream. Shadowhunter's voice was too powerful. Still wishing for a fireball. Yeah, even the second time through.
By the gods.
It's Alphino. I wanted to see Lise kind of run into the barrier by accident.
Let me go.
It's kind of a mean thing to
He
say.
has my
But...
brother.
Lower the barrier.
All right, we're getting close now. Let's bring it in slow. Oh, I thought it froze again. I was like, oh my god. It was just a moment of still.
Be at ease, girl. The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
He would he'd be a great voice for like a an audiobook or something like that. I think it would be an excellent voice for it.
Not him too.
We could identify no cause and found no remedy. Thus I sought to return him to Doma, and into the arms of Lord Hien himself, it would seem.
Into the arms of Lord Hien. What a lovely way to like just be delivered. Patrick says, have we reached but the trailer was angels. How we get from here to there confusion yet? We haven't gotten to that yet, but I'm sure I'll be pretty confused. Welcome to the stream, Patrick. Okabob says, I was all aflutter with the sultry voice and looked up the voice actor. It's Roose Bolton from Game of Thrones. I don't know, like that's GOT's Game of Thrones. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, which might come as a horrible shock to some people, but it's on my, much like the in-game list of things to do one day, I have a out-of-game list of things that I should do one day, and I have not watched Game of Thrones at all. And it's hard because it was super on my list, and then I heard like some people were meh about the last season, and now it's like, but like I still want to watch it. I don't know.
It is a day for fated reunions. Would you not agree, adventurer? Or should I address you as the Warrior of Light?
Man, his voice is fun. What will you say? Gaius van Balsar, the Black Wolf. The Black Wolf is a way cooler name.
Aye. Gaius van Balsar, the Black Wolf. That was the title I was given. One I have long since relinquished.
It's a pretty cool title, though. A pretty cool title. Okabob says, if you do watch, just don't watch the last season. That's kind of what people have said. That's fair. Svent says, good afternoon, Seesaw. Good afternoon, Svent. Welcome to the stream. Patrick says, just because some people are meh doesn't mean Chris or his significant other wouldn't find it incredible. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, and yeah, that's definitely the case with a lot of shows where it's like, I don't like the idea of an ending or a final episode or a final season being so bad that it negates how good other seasons or episodes of a show is. Like, I think it's definitely always well worth watching. Ed says, did he forget who Balsar was? Nah, never. Me forget things? I've never been known to such devastation.
Stand down. The legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion died in Castrum Meridianum. I am no more than Gaius Balsar, a man without rank or allegiance.
Oh, I did forget who he was. Jeez. That's... Because did we hear his voice before? Like, did he have the same voice actor? I'm trying to think now. How did my...
Impossible. There's no way you could have survived.
Yeah, that's...
Do you remember how it unfolded?
I don't. Please tell us.
How I was deceived by La Habrea?
Different voice,
that
okay.
reviving the Ultima weapon would allow me to bring peace to Eorzea?
Oh man, this is a trip down memory lane.
Me, as he used so many others, all to further the restoration of his wretched god.
Wow, that's like crazy. Voice actor change in ARR. Some of us didn't run the dungeon every day to level alt job. Someone needs to do some roulettes. I do. If you run the MSQ roulette 65 times through Moogles, you'll learn more about Gaius. That's so cool. I like that they're doing... I mean, I like that they're doing a lot of callbacks to ARR with this, like the expansion. The issue is that I also did not pay as much attention in ARR compared to like Heaven's Word and Stormblood. But no, this is cool.
Yet even with the might of Alec at my command, you bested me. And as the Praetorium went up in flames, I was content to burn along with it. For a moment, at least.
I mean, clearly by at least them putting in some little cut scenes back to the day, like, I was probably not the only person they were concerned might forget things, so this is good. I appreciate when games do put like a little like, if you forgot who I was, here you go.
A moment of folly. To surrender my life thus would have been to betray all who died for my cause. It was for them that I dragged myself free of the rubble and swore vengeance on the Ascians.
The game definitely challenges the player and the main protagonists to accept, you know, that villains did things more than just for the reason they're bad people, and that they can have chapters either before or after they did their villainous actions. Like, it's a reoccurring theme that we've seen many times throughout this, so it's just really cool when they keep doing this. That there's kind of, and we obviously don't know if he's not going to turn into a villain at this point, but it's interesting. Akub says, I have terrible people memories, so I couldn't remember either. Patrick says, what Seesaw actually remembers about AR. Summoner is cool, all but those Scholar Q times are amazing. I also distinctly remember a quest where we had to fetch like a bottle of wine or something like that. That weirdly, that stands out to me much more than, and I don't know if it was just scarring how tedious some of those quests were, but I do remember that.
The Black Wolf has shed his pelt, never to return to Garlemald or her legions. I live now only to exact revenge.
It's kind of cool that he carries the mask as kind of like a memory. Oh, absolutely. Final Fantasy as a series is very much about shades of gray. Things are rarely as they seem, and everyone has reasons for doing what they do. Daggett says, the Stormblood Alliance raid has follow-ups. To the wine quest, does it actually? Are you messing with me, Daggett, or does it have follow-ups to the wine quest? Patrick says the bottle of wine is a literal dungeon quest. God. Oh, this game is just like, it's a fun time. Never a dull moment.
My principal quarry was to be La Habrea, whom I gather you have since ushered into oblivion.
Well, I guess it makes sense as to why he is so against the Ascians then that he would like have such a stance. Makes a lot of sense. Yurku says no, it absolutely does. Stan says even villains have their own reasons to do what they are doing, and it may look justified or normal under their perspective. It's just a matter of whose perspective you look at. Senior Dirtface says they recently made the wine quest optional. Destiny's Hand says the cheese was the dungeon quest. Senior says, so keep your eyes open. Ed says, did they remove those references when they updated the Alliance quest recently? So no, and that's I think, like, because that's what books do a lot, is that they not only give you the perspective of the heroes, but they give you the perspective of the villains and like their motives. And I think that's one thing that MMOs and video game stories for a long time they kind of lacked, is, you know, it's just, oh, they're bad because they're bad. But I think that's when you get into deep stories where you're not sure how you feel about who's going to win in the end, right? You kind of root for both sides at different points. I mean, there are still some truly evil people in the worlds, but I think it adds a lot.
But so many more remain. Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword.
Oh.
Are the Scions not of like mind?
I mean, we kind of are. I don't know if we're that violent about it.
In a single respect, perhaps.
Then I shall continue the partnership the boy began, and share what intelligence I have acquired.
Did Alphino realize that already or not? Because I don't think we saw him have that. Like, this is where us, the characters, should have realized. So we have to assume Alphino did not realize that about Gaius either. Daggett says, or sorry, Akapos says today's villain is Tafura's BFF. So true. Daggett says one wine quest is a side quest, other is more of a story bit. Patrick says I have to redact spoilers, so the man, the Endwalker relic quest leave me disappointed. I was looking for a grind and I got redacted.
Among the Ascians, the Black-Masked Ilk are subordinate to those who wear red. This you already know. Yet among the red there exists a hierarchy. Those set adrift with the shards clearly stand below those still joined to the source. Nabriales, who once dared to intrude upon the Rising Stones, belonged to the former group, and while he was indeed a dangerous foe, his powers were inconsequential next to the paragons of the Source.
We've got a lot of lore
here.
here.
The first was Lahabrea, who plagues us no more. There is also the white-robed Elidibus, and the elusive Emmett Selk, about whom little is known.
I like it. It just goes arms outstretched. It's good.
We have files on Lahabrea and Elidibus, but I believe this Emmett Selk is new to us? As I assume my brother told you, we have evidence to suggest that an Ascian now walks in the body of the Crown Prince. Have you identified this interloper?
Elidibus seems the most likely culprit. As emissary, it is his role to maintain the equilibrium between darkness and light. Your many deeds in Hydaelyn's name have upset the balance, and I believe he seeks to restore it by throwing his considerable power behind the Empire. As a leader of the Ascians, he is one of our primary targets.
Oh, that means we're aligned for this, doesn't it?
It was on the trail of this very prey that the boy and I came across the scene of a failed uprising. In the absence of a single Garlean casualty, we inspected the bodies of the rebels, and the lack of any external injury drew my immediate attention. They had been slain by Black Rose, an alchemical invention of the Imperial army. When I yet served as legatus, I ordered its production halted, and all stockpiles destroyed. Toxic gas is not a tool of conquest, but of extermination.
Jeez. Destiny's Hand says Emmett Selch is easily the hottest. Well, that's That's important information to to us to be aware of. I appreciate it. Yurko says, Patrick, Garlean gunblades are functionally very different than Gunbreaker gunblades. Interesting. Oh, Patrick said above, I missed. Please note, Gaius is using a gunblade similar to a certain tank class. You too can play the class, but you are not allowed to use his sword. Interesting. And so they're different gunblades.
Toxic gas. This must be the new weapon Maxima warned us about. Something deadly enough to sweep away all resistance in a matter of hours.
That would be it.
Gods. You don't think they're planning to use this in Ala Mhigo, do you?
Put your fears to rest. We infiltrated the production facility and destroyed all existing stores of the chemical along with the plant itself. Even should they rebuild the operation, they will not soon manufacture another batch.
That's good. Ed says, yeah, Gaius uses rounds while gunbreakers use cartridges. Interesting. It's very interesting because the gun sword or gun blade is something that, like, I did not ever really hear about until it was implemented in Final Fantasy. Like, it's just not something I was, you know, when I think of spears, I think of flail, like all the different like weapons you see in MMOs, gunblade doesn't come up to me very much. Whereas I assume it's probably come up in past Final Fantasy games and stuff, so it's just interesting.
Regardless, I would draw your attention to a directive we discovered in the plant's records. The document was marked with a recent date and authorized with the signature of one Zeno C.A. Galvus.
Oh, good.
A dead man signing the death warrant for thousands. 'Tis bad comedy.
'Tis bad comedy. Northern says, you see me use the gunblade class in some of the dungeons and the Exile and Raid. Yeah, I think I have seen that as well. It was used in Final Fantasy VIII. Okay, cool.
But the tale does not end there. Within that same facility was a chamber filled with devices of elegant design. Cloning technology, we realized.
Cloning technology?
And what should we find in each and every incubator? But a young Emperor Solus.
Oh, God.
All of which prompts the question, were the Ascians responsible for these abominations, or was it the will of the Emperor? I must know which hand guides the Empire. Though I have given up my rank, I am yet a son of Garlemald, and I will fight for the future of my homeland. It is time I return to the hunting of shadows. We should focus on our common foe. To reopen old quarrels now would serve no purpose.
We're gonna move on so easily is the question. I feel like Alize will have a harder time trusting, but we'll find out. Destiny says, historically speaking, Gaius is more historically accurate. Yuka says, I could rant for hours about gunblades and the lore behind them in both this game and Final Fantasy VIII. I'll spare you. Stan No Matter says, no, you know why he is alive after the Emperor shoot him.
You saved my brother's life, so I'm willing to let sleeping dogs lie.
Wow,
But in
Alize
truth,
surprised me.
It's not my decision to make.
Is it our decision to make? You're right, there are more important matters at hand. We'll settle this another time. Interesting. I would be like, whatever, man. We're cool. We cool.
There was a time when I scorned those who placed their faith in false gods. Even as I, in my blinkered conviction, place mine in Ascian promises. Unlike yours, my strength of will and my restraint was found wanting. We shall meet again, warrior of light.
Huh. He's just gonna walk away now. I like it. We're making some unlikely allies as we gear up for this.
So that was the infamous Black Wolf. An unexpected ally, to say the least. Well, I am content to leave the fine-tuning of the barrier to cleverer minds. Let us bid our friends from the Ironworks farewell, and see what can be done for Alphino back in Dorma.
I'm thinking not much, since we haven't cracked the code for others. Oh, look at that. We're already back here. Alphino is safely ensconced in a private chamber. My finest healer is examining him as we speak. Oh. Gonna guess he's perfectly healthy on the outside. I've spoken with the physician and there are no outward signs of illness. Alphino is lost in a sleep from which he cannot be woken, just like the other husks. It seems that even the lands of the Empire were not far enough away to escape that cursed voice. I share your frustrations, Alize, I do, but Alphino is returned to us alive and otherwise unharmed. All that remains is to find the means to wake him. Until then, you can fulfill your duties as a scion, yours and your brother's both. You're right, of course. There are arrangements to be made and little time to make them. To the business then, my lord. Now that we know Cyrus's wall, oh yeah, it's the new fancy name we give for it, works as intended, can we expect reinforcements for Ala Mhigo? You most certainly can. As promised, we will send troops to bolster our allies in Eorzea without delay. Pray be aware, however, that they will not arrive without delay. Save for some few who boast teleportation magics, the bulk of our forces must be transported by sea, a lengthy voyage for which the smaller vessels favored by the Confederacy are ill-equipped. Accordingly, I made to enlist the assistance of the East Alderbrand Trading Company in finding suitable ships. As for navigation, the distance in question, we are in a happy position of being able to call upon those who plotted the course of my people's exodus to Eorzea. Beyond the procurement of ships, I think it unlikely that our East Alderbrand friends will consent to any involvement in a military operation, but I am certain they will afford Alphino a berth aboard of the vessel. I guess, yeah, kind of spooked that they'll turn into husks. I shall have a Shurgan accompany him every ilm of the way to the Rising Stones. You have my thanks, Lord Han. Yugiri, I will go on ahead with our friends to Ala Mhigo, enlist all those capable of teleportation and put them at the disposal of the Eorzean Alliance as soon as possible. They will form the vanguard. Yes, my lord. This is exactly what we'd hoped for. Lys and the Alliance leaders will be glad indeed to welcome the combined strength of the East. There you go. Daggett says, who's carrying Alphino back? That's a good point. Meanwhile, at the Black Rose chemical plant. Oh no. Oh no, oh no.
Our supplies at Black Rose have been ruined, but the new plant is already under construction. We should have the first batch ready in time for the offensive, Your Radiance.
Oh wow, so they are just about it.
See that you do.
God, he looks just mean.
Yes, the infamous Black Rose. If I recall correctly, Gaius did not much care for the invention. A ruthless and indiscriminate weapon indeed, this airborne poison. It seems you are capable of making decisions worthy of your bloodline.
With no gift for sorcery, we Garleans must look to Magitech to even the odds. If it spares the needless deaths of our soldiers and serves the cause of this empire, there is no method I would not employ.
How very noble of you.
Truly, though, I must commend you for embracing your role as Emperor. You play the part of the determined ruler well. Sometimes even I catch myself believing.
A silent agent of death. Now that I think on it, Black Rose may well possess the perfect aspect. Slowly but surely, the deluge of light has worked upon the ether here in the source, and the gas should be most susceptible to its influence.
This guy's so spooky. I like the contrast of how like animated his voice is versus the other, just like essentially stone-faced person in these conversations. It's a very good contrast between the two of them.
Well, I shall leave you to your own devices. Go forth and bloody the land with your grand and glorious war.
People like almost a skip
While
out.
you do what, precisely?
There it is.
Need you ask? I will be doing what all Ascians do.
I am well aware that your kind exists only to usher in the next calamity. But you seem oblivious to the harm your singular agenda causes to the Empire. You cannot have forgotten the events which followed your mortal demise. Our homeland was plunged into civil war for your failure to name a successor. The edifice you so carefully constructed was but a hair's breadth from collapse.
Are you truly so naive? You thought me oblivious to the consequences of a departure so painstakingly timed?
It was by design?
Well, of course it was. Though I will admit the resulting panic exceeded even my wildest expectations. But how can you be surprised? Throwing the world into disarray was the very purpose for which this nation was, as you say, so carefully constructed. Now, if you have no further questions, I must be on my way.
I like how confident he is in the plan.
Since we may not meet again in this lifetime, it would be remiss of me not to offer a word or two of gratitude.
A word of two or gratitude. God. Destiny says Black Rose may be deadly, but nothing as bad as the curse that turns people into Smurfs. Olaf says it was by design?
I really must thank you for this surplus of vessels. I can mold any host into my own image, but having bodies tailor-made for me in this fashion is so much less tiresome. You dabbled in Allagan cloning techniques, yes? It certainly is a compelling, not to mention entertaining, field of research. And of all the options available, you chose the Founding Father on whom to experiment. You have a twisted streak to you, Varus, like grandsire, like grandson, eh?
He's just so angry.
If events play out as planned, this will become something of a family enterprise. You will be the capstone of this world, I the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.
God, he is just wild. There you go. Well, well. I think we're probably gonna call it there, but that was a lot. It's wild how many, like, it's a lot of callbacks to like past stuff. Yeah, I feel like I do definitely need to like do a good recap of ARR before I get into Shadowbringers. I feel like it's come up in the last 2 streams that I need to brush up on some stuff. But wow, like, I don't know, I think it's cool when they do bring back these characters. I mean, you can kind of get frustrated like when you think someone's dead and then they're like, but he wasn't dead. But like, I don't know, I think it's cooler to reuse people and give them more like depth to their story, because that makes the initial interaction with those characters more interesting as well, because you're kind of like reading deeper into everything they say and like every point of their story, which is kind of cool. But yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed the stream today. We will look to do some more streams on our way to Shadowbringers. Like I say, once we do finally get to the stream that would commence Shadowbringers, I will do a reaction to the trailer and see if I can understand more of what's going on. I suspect there'll be some disappointment both on my end and your end when I still don't know what's going on, but that's always the fun part. Destiny says, I love him. Yeah, he is really good. Senior says, Ani Black Mage is my recap recommendation for the AR. Is Ani Black Mage a like YouTube channel? Because yeah, I could do some videos. That would be a good way to go through it. Okabob says, enjoy the ride. Farrell says, God, I love Emmett. Selch, he does what he does so well. He does. He's just crazy. Cannot wait to see the reaction. I can't either. Like, I'm just excited because like we'll do the reaction and then we'll get into the first stream. The first stream is always so exciting. Even like the Stormblood one was so exciting too, and people were like kind of medium about going into Stormblood, so it'll be fun. Terminus says, good stream. Here is definitely a good pausing point though. Ani Black Mage is a recap channel. Okay, let me actually just jot that down before I close out of the chat, because I will do that, because I do enjoy listening to videos and stuff like that, so it'll be good. It could be a good thing to listen to while I'm like laying in bed getting ready to sleep or whatever. Perfect. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Hopefully you had a great time at the stream. Hopefully you have a great rest of your weekend and a great start to the next week. And yeah, I'll see you in the next stream. Thanks.